Yuna was tired. She had been tired for 3 days now. The rescue mission had pulled everyone on the ship into long hours and hard work. But the work was done. The survivors were safe. And now she could finally rest, or so she thought. The Horizon's Edge was a research vessel. It was not built for rescue missions. It was not built to carry extra passengers. But when the distress signal came from the Volrani colony transport, there was no choice. The ship had broken apart in the cold emptiness of space. Hundreds had died. Only 47 survived. Among them were 3 cubs. Yuna learned about them during the morning briefing. Commander Heil, a tall Velorina with gray fur and 4 pointed ears, spoke about them like they were cargo. 3 juvenile units, he said. Ages 4, 5, and 6 in human years. Their parents did not survive. They will be placed in a development facility when we reach the next station. Yuna felt something twist in her chest. A facility? They're children. Heil looked at her with his cold yellow eyes. They are Velorani. We do not form attachments the way your species does. The cubs will be cared for. Their physical needs will be met. That is enough. But it was not enough for Yuna. After the briefing, she found Jiwan in the medical bay. He was cleaning tools and organizing supplies. Jiwan was the ship's medic and Yuna's closest friend. They had known each other for 2 years now. Did you hear about the cubs? Yuna asked. Jiwan nodded. He did not look up from his work. I heard. Sad situation. They put them in storage bay 7. Like boxes. Like they're nothing. Jiwan finally looked at her. His eyes were kind but worried. Yuna, I know that look. Whatever you're thinking, don't. They're alone, Jiwan. They lost everything. Someone should be with them. The Volrani don't work like us. They don't need comfort. They don't need hugs. Heil said it himself. They'll be fine. But Yuna could not believe that. She could not accept it. That night, when her shift ended, she walked to storage bay 7. The door was cold under her hand. She pressed the button and stepped inside. The bay was dark and quiet. Boxes and containers filled most of the space. In the corner, on the bare metal floor, sat 3 small figures. The cubs. They did not move when she entered. They did not speak. They just sat there, close together, staring at nothing. Their fur was soft and brown. Their 4 ears lay flat against their heads. They looked so small, so lost. Yuna walked closer and knelt down in front of them. Hello, she said softly. My name is Yuna. What are your names? The oldest one looked at her. His eyes were big and dark. I am Kiro, he said. His voice was flat, without emotion. This is Tavi. This is Somi. Tavi was the middle one. She had lighter fur and a small scar on her nose. Somi was the youngest. She was tiny, barely bigger than a human toddler. She held on to Kiro's arm and did not look up. Are you hungry? Yuna asked. Cold? Do you need anything? Kiro tilted his head. We have been given nutrition packs. Our temperature is acceptable. We need nothing. The words were correct. But something about them broke Yuna's heart. These children had been taught to need nothing. To want nothing. To feel nothing. Would you like to come with me? Yuna asked. My room is warmer. I have soft blankets. You can sleep there tonight. Kiro looked confused. That is not protocol. I know. But I would like it if you came. Will you? The cubs looked at each other. Something passed between them. A silent question. Finally, Kiro stood up. Tavi followed. Somi kept holding Kiro's arm as they walked. Yuna led them through the quiet halls of the ship. A few crew members saw them and stared. Yuna ignored them. She brought the cubs to her quarters and opened the door. Her room was small but warm. She had a bed, a desk, and a chair. On the floor was a thick rug she had brought from Earth. On her shelf were books and small plants in pots. The cubs stood in the doorway and looked around. Sami's ears lifted slightly. It was the first sign of interest Yuna had seen. "You can sit on the rug," Yuna said. "It's soft." Tavi walked over and touched the rug with her foot. Then she sat down slowly. Her eyes went wide. "This is pleasant," she said. Yuna smiled. She pulled blankets from her closet and piled them on the floor. She found extra pillows and added them too. "You can sleep here tonight. I'll be right there in my bed. If you need anything, just ask." Kiro watched her work. "Why are you doing this?" he asked. Yuna paused. She looked at him. "Because you're children. Because you're alone. Because someone should care about you." "Caring is inefficient," Kiro said. "Our elders taught us this." "Maybe," Yuna said. "But I'm human. We're not very good at being efficient. We're better at being kind." Kiro did not answer, but he sat down on the blankets next to his sisters. Somi curled up in a ball and closed her eyes. Within minutes, she was asleep. Yuna watched them for a long time. 3 small cubs, lost and alone, sleeping on her floor. She did not know what she was doing. She did not know if she could help them. But she knew one thing for certain. She would try. 5 days passed. Yuna's life became a blur of work and exhaustion. Every morning, she woke early to feed the cubs. She gave them real food, not nutrition packs. She made them toast and eggs and warm milk. They ate slowly at first, confused by the flavors. But soon they began to enjoy it. Tavi especially liked the eggs. She would eat them with her small hands, licking her fingers after every bite. After breakfast, Yuna went to the lab. She was a xenobiologist. Her job was to study alien life forms. But now she could not focus on her work. Her mind kept drifting back to the cubs. Were they okay? Were they scared? Were they lonely? She worked her normal shift. Then she worked extra hours to make up for lost time. Then she returned to her quarters to care for the cubs. She read them stories from her tablet. She taught them human songs. She showed them how to play simple games. The cubs did not understand games at first. Kiro asked, "What is the purpose of this activity?" When Yuna tried to teach them hide and seek. "The purpose is fun," Yuna said. "Fun is not a purpose. It is for humans." Slowly, the cubs began to change. It happened in small ways. Tavi started to copy Yuna's laugh. When Yuna smiled, Tavi would smile too. When Yuna said something funny, Tavi would make a sound that was almost like giggling. Kiro became Yuna's shadow. Wherever she went, he followed. If she sat down, he sat near her. If she stood up, he stood too. He watched everything she did with his big, serious eyes. And Somi, the youngest, became the most attached of all. She would not sleep unless she was holding Yuna's hand. She would not eat unless Yuna was in the room. She called Yuna Warm One because she did not know the word for mother. One evening, Yuna decided to teach them something special. She took all the blankets and pillows in her room and began to build. "What are you doing?" Kiro asked. "I'm building a fort," Yuna said. "A fort? A military structure?" "No, a blanket fort. A fun fort. Come, I'll show you." She draped blankets over chairs and tucked pillows into corners. She made walls and a roof and a small door to crawl through. When she was done, she sat inside and called to the cubs. "Come in." They crawled through the door one by one. Inside the fort, it was dark and warm and soft. Sami's eyes went very wide. She touched the blanket walls with wonder. "This is a good place," she whispered. "It's a safe place," Yuna said. "When I was small, I built these all the time. When I was scared or sad, I would hide inside and feel better. Kiro looked around. There is no practical value to this structure. No, Yuna agreed. But it feels nice. That's the value. Kiro was quiet for a moment. Then he said, very softly, it does feel nice. They stayed in the fort for hours. Yuna told them stories about Earth, about mountains and oceans and forests full of trees. The cubs listened with their ears pointed forward, drinking in every word. But while the cubs grew happier, Yuna grew more tired. G1 noticed first. He found her in the lab one afternoon, struggling to keep her eyes open. When did you last sleep? He asked. I sleep every night. For how long? Yuna did not answer. The truth was, she slept only 3 or 4 hours each night. The rest of her time went to work and the cubs. G1 put his hand on her shoulder. Yuna, you can't keep doing this. You're going to hurt yourself. I'm fine. You're not fine. You have dark circles under your eyes. You've lost weight. You skipped lunch again today. Yuna pulled away. The cubs need me. And what happens to them if you collapse? Who takes care of them then? She had no answer for that. The next day, Commander Heil called her to his office. He stood behind his desk with his arms crossed. His yellow eyes were hard and cold. I have received reports, he said. You have been keeping the orphan cubs in your quarters. Yes. This is against protocol. I know. Heil leaned forward. You are interfering with their development. Valrani cubs must learn independence. They must learn to control their emotions. What you are doing, you are making them weak. Yuna felt anger rise in her chest. They're not weak. They're learning to feel. Feeling is weakness. Attachment is weakness. Our species survived for thousands of years because we do not waste energy on sentiment. Maybe that's why your species is so cold, Yuna said. Maybe that's why those cubs were sitting alone in a storage bay like forgotten cargo. Heil's ears flattened. You are making them defective. When they reach the development facility, they will not fit in. They will struggle. They will suffer. Or maybe, Yuna said, they'll be the first Varani to know what it feels like to be loved. She walked out before he could respond. That night, she returned to her quarters even more exhausted than before. The cubs were waiting for her. They had built a small blanket fort by themselves in the corner of the room. We made a safe place, Tavi said proudly. Somi ran to Yuna and grabbed her hand. Come inside, warm one. Come rest with us. Yuna felt tears in her eyes. She was so tired. Her body ached. Her head hurt. But looking at these 3 small faces, she felt something warm spread through her chest. She crawled into the fort with them. Somi curled up against her side. Tavi rested her head on Yuna's leg. Kiro sat at the entrance, watching the door. What are you doing, Kiro? Yuna asked. I am guarding, he said. You are tired. I will keep you safe. Yuna closed her eyes. Tears rolled down her cheeks. These children, who had been taught to feel nothing, were learning to care. They were learning to love. And they were doing it all on their own. Maybe Heil was right. Maybe she was changing them. But as she fell asleep with 3 small cubs around her, she could not believe that change was wrong. The day everything changed started like any other day. Yuna woke at 5 in the morning. She made breakfast for the cubs. She helped them wash and dress. She read them a short story. Then she went to work. But this was not a normal day. There was an emergency in the lab. One of the containment units had failed. Dangerous samples were at risk. All scientists were called in to help. Yuna worked without stopping. 1 hour became 2, 2 became 5, 5 became 10. She did not eat. She did not rest. She barely drank water. Jiwan came to check on her in the evening. Yuna, You need to take a break. I can't. We're almost done. You've been working for 14 hours. A few more, then I'll stop. But a few more became many more. The emergency took all night to fix. When the sun rose on the ship's artificial day cycle, Yuna was still working. 20 hours. She had been awake for 20 hours. When the work was finally done, Yuna could barely walk. Her legs felt like water. Her eyes burned. Every step was a struggle. She made her way slowly back to her quarters. The hall seemed longer than before. The lights seemed too bright. Her head was full of fog. She reached her door. She pressed the button. The door slid open. She stepped inside. The cubs were asleep on their pile of blankets in the corner. Yuna was glad. She did not want them to see her like this. She did not want them to worry. She took one step toward her bed, then another. Then her legs gave out. She fell. The floor was cold and hard beneath her. She should get up. She should climb into bed. But her body would not obey. Her eyes closed on their own. She slept. She did not know how long she was unconscious. It could have been hours. It could have been days. Time had no meaning in the darkness. When she finally began to wake, she felt something strange. She was warm, very warm, and soft. Something soft was all around her. She opened her eyes slowly. At first, she did not understand what she was seeing. There were walls around her. Walls made of pillows. A roof hung above her head. A roof made of blankets. She was lying on something thick and cushioned. More blankets. More pillows. She was inside a fort, but she had not built this fort. Yuna turned her head. Beside her, curled in a tight ball, was Somi. The little cub was pressed against Yuna's back. She was purring softly in her sleep. The sound was low and gentle, like a cat's purr, but deeper. Yuna turned the other way. There, sitting at the entrance of the fort, was Kiro. He was awake. He was watching the door with serious eyes. When he saw Yuna move, he looked at her. "You are awake," he said quietly. "Kiro, what is this?" "We built a safe place." Yuna pushed herself up slowly. Her body still ached, but she felt better than before. She looked around the fort in amazement. It was big. It was carefully made. Every pillow was stacked just right. Every blanket was tucked in place. "You built this?" she whispered. "All of you?" Kiro nodded. "You fell down." "You would not move." "We were." He paused, searching for the right word. "We were worried." Worried. That word meant everything. "We did not know what to do," Kiro continued. "Somi wanted to wake you, but I remembered what you said. You said the fort is a safe place. A place to feel better when you are scared or sad. So you built one for me." "Yes," we thought. "If you were inside a safe place, you would get better." Yuna felt her throat tighten. Her eyes filled with tears. "Where is Tavi?" she asked. Just then, the door to her quarters slid open. Tavi came in carrying a cup of water. She walked carefully, trying not to spill. When she saw Yuna sitting up, her face lit up. "One, you are awake." She hurried over to the fort and held out the cup. "I brought water." Jiwon said humans need water. I went to find some. Yuna took the cup with shaking hands. She drank slowly. The water was cool and fresh. It was the best water she had ever tasted. "You went to find water for me?" Yuna asked. Tavi nodded proudly. "Kiro told me to. He said we must take care of you. Like you take care of us." Somi stirred behind Yuna. The little cub sat up, rubbing her eyes. When she saw Yuna was awake, she made a happy sound and wrapped her arms around Yuna's waist. "You were leaking tired," Somi said. "You had water coming from your face before you slept." "Tears," Yuna said softly. "They were tears. We did not like the tears. We wanted to make them stop." Yuna could not hold back any longer. She began to cry. Not sad tears this time. Happy tears. grateful tears. Tears of love so strong it hurt. She pulled all 3 cubs into her arms and held them tight. They did not resist. They pressed against her, warm and soft and real. "You wonderful children," she whispered. "You amazing, beautiful children. Did we do good?" Kiro asked. His voice was uncertain. "Is the fort okay?" "The fort is perfect. It's the best fort anyone has ever made." "We were scared," Tavi admitted. "When you fell, we did not know if you were broken." "I'm not broken. I was just very tired." "You work too much," Kiro said seriously. "You must sleep more. We will help you." Yuna laughed through her tears. "You sound like Jiwon." "Jiwon is smart. We will listen to Jiwon." They stayed in the fort for a long time. Yuna held the cubs and they held her back. Somi fell asleep again, still purring. Tavi played with Yuna's hair, curious about its texture. Kiro kept watching the door. Ever the guardian. These children had been told their whole lives that love was useless. That caring was weakness. That attachment would only hurt them. Their elders had taught them to be cold, to be alone, to need nothing and no one. But love could not be taught away. It could not be erased. It was inside them all along, waiting. All they needed was someone to show them it was okay that Yuna had shown them. And now they were showing her. The fort was not just pillows and blankets. It was proof. Proof that even the coldest hearts could learn to be warm. Proof that love, once given, grows and returns. Proof that humanity's greatest gift was not technology or strength. It was this. This simple, powerful thing. The ability to care. Jiwon was worried that he had not seen Yuna for almost a full day. She had not answered his messages. She had not come to the medical bay for her usual visit. When he asked the computer where she was, it said she was in her quarters. But she did not answer when he called. Finally, he decided to check on her himself. He walked through the ship's halls with a knot in his stomach. He had warned her. He had told her she was working too hard. He had told her she needed rest. But Yuna never listened. She was too stubborn, too caring, too willing to destroy herself for others. He reached her door and pressed the button. It slid open. The room was dim. At first, Jiwon could not understand what he was seeing. There was a strange structure in the middle of the floor. A pile of pillows and blankets shaped like a small house. Then he saw movement inside. Yuna was there. She was lying on the floor, surrounded by cushions. 3 small cubs were curled around her. Somi was pressed against her back, purring. Tavi was sleeping at her feet. Kiro was sitting at the entrance of the structure, watching Jiwon with alert eyes. "Who are you?" Kiro asked in a low voice. "What do you want?" Jiwon raised his hand slowly. "I'm Jiwon, the medic. I'm Yuna's friend." Kiro studied him for a long moment. Then he relaxed slightly. "You may come closer, but be quiet. The warm one is resting." Jiwon walked softly to the edge of the fort. He looked down at Yuna. She was sleeping peacefully, her face calm. The dark circles under her eyes were still there, but she looked better than before. "What happened here?" Jiwon whispered. "She fell," Kiro explained. "She was leaking tired. She could not move. So we built a safe place for her." "You built this? All 3 of you?" "Yes. We remembered what she taught us. The fort makes you feel better when you are scared or sad. We thought it would help." Jiwon felt something warm spread through his chest. These cubs, these cold and emotionless Volreni children, had built a pillow fort to protect their human caretaker. They had learned love from her, and now they were giving it back. "That was very kind of you," Jiwon said softly. "Very, very kind." Kiro tilted his head. "Kind? I do not know this word. It means doing something good for someone else, because you care about them." Kiro thought about this. Then yes, we are kind. We care about the warm one. We do not want her to be hurt. Jiwan smiled. She cares about you too. Very much. He should have left then. He should have let them rest. But something made him pull out his communication device. Something made him send a message to Commander Heil. You need to see this, he wrote. Come to Yuna's quarters, quietly. He did not know why he did it. Maybe he wanted Heil to understand. Maybe he wanted the commander to see that he was wrong. Maybe he just wanted proof that Yuna's work mattered. A few minutes later, Heil arrived. The commander stepped into the room silently. He saw the fort. He saw Yuna sleeping inside. He saw the 3 cubs arranged around her like guards. He stopped moving. His yellow eyes went wide. What is this? He breathed. This is love, Jiwan said simply. Heil walked closer. His movements were slow, uncertain. He stared at Kiro, who stared back without fear. You built this structure? Heil asked the cub. Yes, to protect the warm one. Why? Kiro looked confused by the question. Because she needed protection. Because she was hurt. Because... He paused, searching for words. Because she is ours. And we are hers. Heil's ears flattened against his head. Jiwan could see the confusion on his face. The Velrani had no word for this. They had no concept of this. Cubs did not protect adults. Cubs did not build. Cubs did not claim others as their own. Yet here it was, happening in front of his eyes. This is impossible, Heil said quietly. It's not impossible, Jiwan replied. It's just new. New for you. Somi began to stir. She opened her eyes and saw Heil standing there. Instead of being scared, she moved closer to Yuna and put her small hand on the human's arm. You cannot take her, Somi said. Her voice was small but firm. She is ours. Heil took a step back. I have no intention of taking her. I only came to observe. Then observe quietly. She needs rest. A cub had given an order to a commander, and the commander obeyed. They stood in silence for several minutes. Tavi woke up, but did not move from her spot at Yuna's feet. Kiro kept watching Heil with careful eyes. Somi continued to guard Yuna's arm like it was precious treasure. Finally, Yuna opened her eyes. She saw Jiwan first. Then she saw Heil. She sat up quickly, alarmed. Commander, I can explain. Heil raised his hand. You do not need to explain. I have seen enough. Yuna's face fell. She expected punishment. She expected anger. But Heil's expression was not angry. It was thoughtful, confused, almost amazed. Dr. Yuna, he said slowly, in 2 weeks, you have done something that Velrani scientists have tried to do for centuries. What do you mean? Emotional reciprocity. The ability to receive care and return it. We have studied it. We have tried to teach it. We have always failed. We believed it was impossible for our species. He looked at the cubs. Yet here are 3 children who learned it simply by watching you. Yuna did not know what to say. I called your actions interference, Heil continued. I said you were making them defective. I was wrong. He paused. Or perhaps I was right. Perhaps they are defective now. Defective by Velrani standards. But perhaps those standards are wrong. He turned to leave. At the doorway, he stopped. I will not report this to the council, he said. Instead, I will request a formal study. Not to punish you. To understand you. To understand how you did what you did. I didn't do anything special, Yuna said. I just loved them. Heil was quiet for a long moment. Then he nodded once and walked away. After he left, Jiwan sat down beside the fort. Well, he said, that was not what I expected. Me neither. Yuna laughed weakly. I thought I was going to be removed from duty. Instead, you might have just changed an entire species. Somi climbed into Yuna's lap. What does that mean? Changed a species? Yuna hugged her close. It means that maybe, just maybe, more Varani will learn to feel what you feel. To love like you love. Kiro looked up. That would be good, he said seriously. Everyone should have a warm one. Yuna smiled through fresh tears. Yes, she agreed. Everyone should. The message arrived 3 weeks later. A delegation from the Galactic Union was coming to the horizon's edge. They wanted to meet the human scientist who had done the impossible. They wanted to see the cubs who had learned to love. Yuna was terrified. What if they take them away? She asked Yijuan the night before the delegation arrived. What if they decide the cubs are too valuable for research? What if they separate us? Jiwan put his hand on her shoulder. You have faced worse than politicians. You survived 20-hour shifts. You survived Commander Heil. You can survive this. But the cubs love you. That will not change, no matter what happens tomorrow. Yuna tried to believe him. But that night, she held the cubs tighter than ever. The delegation arrived in the morning. There were 5 of them. 2 Varani elders with gray fur and cold eyes. 1 human ambassador in a fancy suit. And 2 scientists, 1 from each species, carrying tablets and recording devices. They gathered in the ship's conference room. Commander Heil stood at the head of the table. Yuna sat in a chair with the cubs beside her. The human ambassador spoke first. His name was something long and important that Yuna forgot immediately. Dr. Yuna, he said, your work has attracted attention from the highest levels of the Union. What you have accomplished is unprecedented. I didn't accomplish anything, Yuna said quietly. I just took care of 3 children who needed help. One of the Varani elders leaned forward. Her name was Elder Mira, and she looked at Yuna like she was a puzzle to be solved. Our species has studied emotional development for hundreds of years. We have never succeeded in producing results like these. How did you do it? I didn't do it. They did it themselves. I just showed them it was possible. Showed them how. Yuna thought for a moment. By caring for them, by reading them stories, by playing games, by building pillow forts. She smiled sadly. I know that sounds silly, but that's all it was. I treated them like children, not like cargo. I loved them, and they learned to love back. The room was silent. Elder Myra turned to the cubs. You 3, come forward. Kiro, Tavi, and Somi looked at Yuna. She nodded. They stood up and walked to the center of the room. Do you understand what you have done? Elder Mira asked them. You have formed emotional bonds. This is not normal for our species. How do you feel about this? Kiro stood straight and tall. I feel many things, he said. I feel happy when the warm one smiles. I feel scared when she is hurt. I feel safe when she is near. He paused. These feelings are new, but they are not bad. They are good. And you? Elder Myra looked at Tavi. I like laughing, Tavi said. I like playing games. I like the way my chest feels warm when the warm one holds me. I do not want to stop feeling these things. Elder Mira turned to Somi. The youngest cub was shaking slightly, but she did not hide. The warm one is my home, Somi said. Her voice was small but clear. I want to stay with her forever. Elder Mira sat back. Her face showed no emotion, but something in her eyes had changed. The other Velrani elder, an old male named Elder Duan, spoke up. These cubs are no longer fit for normal Velrani development. They are too attached, too emotional. They would struggle in a traditional facility. Yuna's heart dropped. Here it was, the moment she feared. Therefore, Elder Duan continued, we propose that they remain with Dr. Yuna. Yuna's head snapped up. What? They are bonded to you. Separating them now would cause harm. Additionally, your methods show promise. The Union wishes to study them further." He looked at her with those cold yellow eyes, but there was a hint of something else there. Curiosity, maybe, or respect. "We would like to offer you a position. Galactic Union Liaison for Cross-Species Emotional Development. You would train others to do what you have done." Yuna could not believe what she was hearing. "You want me to teach other species how to love? We want you to try. Love is a human specialty, it seems. Perhaps it is time we learn from you." The human ambassador nodded. "You would have full resources, a proper home, support for yourself and the children. It is a significant opportunity." Yuna looked at the cubs. They were watching her with wide eyes. "Can I have a moment with them?" she asked. The delegation nodded. Yuna knelt down and pulled the cubs close. "What do you think?" she whispered. "Do you want to stay with me?" Kiro put his small hand on her cheek. "You are our warm one. You are our home. We want to stay with you always." "Always is a long time. We know. We still want it." Somi grabbed Yuna's hand. "Please say yes. Please." Tavi nodded eagerly. "We will be good. We will help you. We will build forts." Yuna laughed. Tears streamed down her face, but she did not care. "Okay," she said. "Okay, I'll say yes." She stood up and faced the delegation. "I accept, on one condition." "Name it," said Elder Myra. "These cubs are not research subjects. They are not examples or experiments. They are my children, legally and officially. No one takes them from me. No one runs tests on them without my permission. They come first, always." The room was silent. The Volreni elders looked at each other. Then, slowly, Elder Myra nodded. "Agreed. From this day forward, they are yours. By Union law and Volreni tradition." Somi let out a happy cry. She ran to Yuna and jumped into her arms. Tavi and Kiro followed. They wrapped themselves around her, holding tight, refusing to let go. G1, watching from the corner, wiped his eyes. Later that night, Yuna tucked the cubs into their new bed. The ship had given her larger quarters now. There was room for a proper bed for the children, with soft sheets and warm blankets. She sat on the edge and looked at their small faces. "We are family now," Somi said. "Real family." "Yes," Yuna agreed. "Real family." Kiro was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "The Volreni have no word for family the way humans mean it. A word for warmth and safety and belonging." "That's sad," Tavi said. "It was sad, but now we have made a new word." Kiro looked at Yuna. "We call it Yuna. To have Yuna means to have a home that loves you." Yuna could not speak. Her throat was too tight. Her eyes were too full of tears. Somi reached up and touched her face. "Will you stay, warm one? Will you stay forever?" Yuna leaned down and kissed her forehead. "Always," she promised. "Always." She stayed with them until they fell asleep. 3 small cubs, once lost and alone, now surrounded by love. They had taught the galaxy something new. They had proven that even the coldest hearts could learn to feel. And it all started with a pillow fort. Yuna walked to the window and looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, other species waited. Other children needed help. Other hearts needed warming. She had work to do. But tonight she was just a mother. And that was enough. That was everything.